Our property of Haywoods and Wetlands is a protected piece of the parklands whose conservation easement insists that we, the owners, act as its stewards in perpetuity. The easement on our land protects all but our 4.5-acre yard from any permanent development, thus ensuring the wildlife and waterfowl maintain a dominant place on these grounds. I tell the boys, we are the Lorax, we speak for the trees. Within these acres of ours, 86 of them are mixed tame, native forage plants, perennial grasses, and legume. But by 2015, when we bought the property, our tame forage portion of the land had deteriorated and was no longer an effective nesting habitat for waterfowl. Having last been seeded in 1996, it was nearly twice past the 10-year lifespan of a perennial field. When hayed at the end of summer, it would produce a handful of bales, and the swather would struggle to cut the thin patches, opting instead to just simply push them over. I'm not a farmer. My mother's family has farmed the prairies for over 100 years, and I was fortunate to spend a good amount of my childhood on family farms. But armed only with my John Deere 316 tractor, I have neither the knowledge nor implements needed to break this vast ground and rejuvenate its perennial cover. With a gentleman's agreement, our hayfields have always been tended by a local farmer, who uses the bales as winter feed for their bulls. After one particularly dry season in 2016, it was evident that something needed to be done to make haying this field a viable endeavor and to give the waterfowl the cover they needed to nest. So with the blessing of Ducks Unlimited and following the guidelines of the conservation easement, the ground was broken and seeds were sown. Planting oats the first year, this rotational crop would reduce the soil's erosion and increase the soil fertility. The easement allows for this type of project every 10 years and allows the landowner to rotate crops for up to 2 years in a row. In the second year of the rejuvenation process, it was canola that would add color to our lives and organic material to the soil. With the land returning to a productive state and smoothing out rutted ATV trails, we made a request to rotate crops once more before seeding back to a perennial tame forage, and were granted a special work consent to give the property a final round of nutritious crop rotation. Harvest on the prairies is one of those signs that time is never standing still. Like back to school or the color of autumn leaves, harvest marks the passage of time and the closure of a toilsome season of sun and excitement. This year's harvest also closes the rejuvenation project. The oats this year produced a bumper crop, a sign that the amendments to the soil have added the nutrients and organic material needed for a productive growing season. Come spring, the fields will be turned and seeded back to the nesting grounds protected by the conservation easement. perennial grasses and legumes that will grow next summer will provide habitat for waterfowl, songbirds, and raptors, and contribute significantly to the diversity of the wildlife we coexist with on our property. Much gratitude goes out to those folks who have made this process possible. My appreciation for their tireless work and investment in our property is overwhelming. Time will tell what returns they'll yield and what benefits the wildlife will inherit. For our family, it's been a great learning experience and an opportunity to witness some of the agricultural practices that this province is so well known for. I think my Grandpa Orrin would be pleased to see my boys' smiling faces as the bales roll out and the sun goes down on our little piece of the prairie.